Hello, this is Mike Lively, and today we have Zach with us. Hey, Zach.
Hi.
And we're going to be looking today at the text layout format. We're actually skipping a little bit ahead today and looking at Chapter 7 of Classroom in a Book. Of course, we won't be using their material. We'll be using ours. And this is a little bit more advanced than typically you'd find in this book because we're going to be talking about templates and XML today as well. So we have this simple little book we're going to be working with, and we're going to start off with templates. And this is a nice little template that you can find on ActiveDim. You can purchase this for about $30 and then put your own book in here. And I have a presentation coming up, Enhancing Online Learning with Dr. Kevin Corcoran here pretty soon. And we're just putting together a nice little presentation using one of these templates. And so you pull this over and there's a page. Very nice action and flash. Everyone loves these things because they have a real book on the web. And it actually plays videos as well. There's a number of features as well. You can actually contact me, tell a friend, go to full screen. You can play music, kind of stop and start a slideshow if you'd like. You can do download PDF version, print a version, zoom in, show all pages, or view the table of contents. So it's a pretty amazing process, and this book has actually come along quite a bit. So if you want to buy something like this, once again, just go to ActiveDim. They're selling it, and not only just that, they give you entire source code so you can build things like it yourself, rewrite the code, work with it. I mean, it's just a great deal. And it would just take you a long time to build something this nice. So it's a great deal once again, and we're going to learn how to work with XML and to build and put pages into this template today, and going to use that text layout format system, text flow engine that Adobe has created. So first of all, let's go ahead and take a look at XML. Now, the neat thing about XML, you typically learn about programming Flash sites, and you learn about tweening, and that's what we address. But one thing you don't get into later on, and which I wish someone had told me very early in the business, is how to pull things in from the outside. Because you can make a nice template and then basically have everything pulled in from the outside. You don't have to reprogram anything. You just keep changing the XML. So XML pretty much is the language of the web. So I'm going to show you a little bit of XML here, and I'm going to bring up Dreamweaver, for example. And here's a longer one that you'll be working with today, but we're just going to create one to show you how they're done. So I'm going to go File, New, and do Dreamweaver, and I'm going to choose XML. And the first thing I get is this nice little XML header tag, and that's great. That's what I'm supposed to get. And below that, I'm going to start creating XML. And so we'll just call this a data tag, for example. And we'll put some data in between it. And whenever you start a tag, it has to also close a tag, and that's called being well-formed. And if your XML is not well-formed, it won't run on the web. And we could say, for example, let my data be books. So I'm going to put books here. And we'll close that tag, and we'll start another one. Books, and then we're going to go ahead and open that up a little bit so I can put lots of books in there. So in my books, I could have a title, for example, right? And it could be my dog. And then I could have some text, for example. Of course, you want to close that. And when you close something, you say it's well formed. Put some text in there, and we say my dog is cool. And then you could come along here and put an image if you wanted to with your dog. So let's go ahead and put an image tag in there. There you go. And maybe my dog's image is fluffy.jpg. There you go. And then if I wanted to put another book below that, I could go ahead and just copy this, and let's copy that, and maybe the next book is about cats. And it could be about my cat. And then my cat is cool. And this could be skinny, because my cat's really skinny. Okay? And so all of this has to, in a sense, exist in a file. These JPEGs will exist in a file that you actually pull them from, and they can actually populate a web page. So once you're done making your file, you actually have to save that file in order to validate it. So let's go File, Save As. And we'll just call it Books, just to give it a name. Doesn't really matter at this point. This is just an example. Let me bring this up a little bit so you can see the entire XML. And now what I want to do is go ahead and validate this XML and make sure it's good. So I'll go File, Validate as XML. And when you do that, Below here you can see there's no errors. If they had not been validated, I'd have gotten some errors. So let's go ahead and introduce an error in my perfect XML and see if something happens to it. So in this XML, I'm going to introduce an error. So let's say I leave off a tag, for example. When I do it, won't be well formed, right? So go File, Save. And now let's try to validate it. Let's go File, Validate as XML. And now it's very unhappy. It's complaining. So I can actually double click on one of these. And the one thing you need to keep in mind is when you have an error in XML, it doesn't always essentially point you back to that actual error. It actually went after the error, right? So you need to kind of fish up a little bit or fish down, typically up when you have an error. And I'm just going to fish up a few lines, and there, oop, look, I forgot my title. Let's go ahead and put that back in. Title's in there. Let's go ahead and save that. And we'll try to validate it again and see if it's okay. Validate as XML and see what happens. Oh, all the errors went away, so my XML is good. See? They're pretty easy, right? Now these are actually data in between tags of an XML, but you can actually have data inside the tags of an XML. So let me discuss the data just a little bit. I've actually made some modifications. I actually stuck some data inside the tags. And I created an ID equals 0 and an ID equals 1 inside the tags. Now previously we were creating data that was in between the tags, but when you put data inside a tag, that's called an attribute. And this would be very convenient. If I wanted to do a search, I could search on ID 0, which would be dogs, and ID 1, which would be cats. And a lot of people use data inside the tags, which are called attributes once again, and in between these are nodes as well. All of these are actually nodes that fit in the XML structure. So that's pretty much all you need to know about doing all of this. This is a simple XML. Now let's go to a more complex one.